President Biden, when he's going to speak to Putin, that he's going to ask him about the UFO thing and stuff like that.
I think that's ridiculous. If the Russians had UFO technology, I mean, they would own us right now. They used to say that. I've heard people talk about how the Nazis had it in the Second World War. But if they did, they would have won. That is ridiculous. It has to be something that's out of our galaxy. It just has to be if it in fact is real.
And Congressman, you have always been a straight shooter. It's been like I know when it's been bipartisan, but the one thing I've noticed is it doesn't matter which president it is. Nobody ever talks about the.
They always say they're going to do something about it, and then they get in office. And honestly, I thought Trump was going to do something. They was going to release the files, but they release these files, they're redacted. It's just a big blob of whiteout. And clearly something's going on that we can't handle. I mean, UFOs were in the Bible. Read Ezekiel. It talks about the wheel flying around. So I mean, they've been around whiteout, and clearly something's going on that we can't handle. I mean, UFOs were in the Bible. Read Ezekiel. It talks about the wheel flying around. So I mean, they've been around since we've been around, and somebody needs to come up with some answers.
So even when
it's just a big blob of whiteout, and clearly something's going on that we can't handle. I mean, UFOs were in the Bible. Read Ezekiel. It talks about the wheel flying around. So I mean, they've been around since we've been around, and somebody needs to come up with some answers.
All right, Shalom. This is Harwan Banyasha Allah of the Lions Den Camp. I want to say Kal Halayim La Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai by Hashem Harakar Kodash Mamath. Double honor to the elder apostles of GMS and their elders, and shalom to you Akim and Agwatim and children that believe in sincerity and truth around the four corners of the earth. Yeah, you got this U.S. representative, Congressman Tim Burchett. All right, Tim Burchett. He came out and spoke out about it, saying that what they call UFOs or UAPs are actually in the Bible, and you never really hear the government speaking like that, saying that, hey man, these things are spoken of in the Bible. They've been here before us, as long as us, So he put it out there on TMZ on top of that. So, that's the talk right now, man. The chariots are showing up. Still got to be careful with Esau and their Project Bluebeam and their narratives to where they could come out with this UFO exposure or info that they're coming out with this month. All right, or next month. They could come out and say, hey, man, their hypothesis is that it's extraterrestrials or that there's some government vehicle. But they already came out slightly saying that, hey, man, it's not a government vehicle. It's something extraterrestrial. All right. So basically something extraterrestrial means something made outside of the earth. All right. Or, whatever. Something from another dimension, All right. Because something can be made on earth and then created into being extraterrestrial. All right. So that's why I paused for a second. But extraterrestrial really means something made outside of the earth. All right. And that's where our bodies, when we get our new bodies, they're going to be made in the heavens, in the chariots. All right. Something coming from out of the heavens, and not just from the earth. All right. So when these bodies are changed, we'll be extraterrestrial. When he takes these bodies and changes them. So now let's get to the point, man. This Ezekiel 1. All right. It says the Bible, chariots are in the Bible. Read Ezekiel. It talks about the wheel. So I'm gonna go into Ezekiel. I'm not gonna make it too long. This chapter could take like 3 hours to go through as far as a lesson. There's so many details. But I'm gonna try to skim through it as fast as I can and maybe do a few chapters, all right? And just kind of go into some understanding on it. So let's get into it. All right. Of course, there's a lot of confusion about these chapters because this chapter here is shrouded in mystery, man. You know, but this is Ezekiel 1, chapter 1. Um, well, chapter 1, verse 1. Now it came to pass in the 30th year, in the 4th month, in the 5th day of the month. All right. As I was among the captives by the river Kibar, that the heavens were open, and I saw visions of Yahweh. So he saw visions. He didn't see the Lord like with his own eyes, but he saw visions of the powers, man. He saw the visions of Yahweh. He saw Yahweh Shai, and he saw the angels. Now, what this is, man, he was captive. He was one of the captives, and this happened around April, springtime, the 4th month. Okay. Um, and he was one of the captives, and he was down by the river Kibar over there in Babylon. All right. And the Lord gave him a vision. And that was like a way of getting somebody alone, you know. Either they would go pray up under a big tree that it's like going into our closet today, like say going into a private area and pray. But this was a way for the Lord to get Ezekiel away from all the other captives, and He gave him a vision. All right. Now let's keep going. It'll get more in detail. If the in the 5th day of the month, which was the 5th year of King Jehoiakim's captivity. So now they went to the fifth day of the month, right? Which was the 5th year of King Jehoiakim's captivity. Now Jehoiakim was the son of Jehoiakim, all right, Jehoiakim, who was a puppet ruler that was put in place by Nebuchadnezzar around 605 BC or 609 BC. All right, and then counting down about 605 during the Battle of Carchemish, Nebuchadnezzar II, the Assyrian, the ruler of Babylon, he showed up and ransacked Jerusalem, going against Jehoiakim. All right, and that's when he took Daniel and some of the prophets, cropped off the top of the young twigs. All right, a lot of our nobles. All right. And that's why Daniel, he was speaking of being in Babylon around 605 BC. All right. He was one of those captives during it was called the first exile. All right. Around 606, 605. Then you go to this exile spoken of with Ezekiel. This was around 592, right before Nebuchadnezzar laid siege or set up Zedekiah. Zedekiah started ruling in 597, all right, BC. You had Jehoiakim, he stopped ruling in 598. All right, so going from 598 around December or November, Jehoiakim was taken captive by Nebuchadnezzar II. And then what happened? His son was placed as a puppet ruler in office, Jehoiakim, or who they call Jeconiah. All right, and he only ruled for 3 months. So right here it says what? In the 5th year of Jeconiah or Jehoiakim's captivity. So when did he go into captivity? 597. So in the 5th year of his captivity would be 592. All right. So that's when Ezekiel wrote or was given his vision around 592 BC approximately. All right. Just give you a mindset of what was going on. And our people were being wicked, worshiping all kind of idols. So the Lord woke up Ezekiel to tell him to go warn our people. All right. And right here, it's so important to understand this chapter because the Most High was sending him a vision saying, hey, man, I am a God. I am the God that rules in the earth. I send my angels. He showed him a vision of the angels and how they operate in the earth. And he's operating in the heavens. That's what this vision represents. That he's a power that rules in the earth. You know, he ruleth in the kingdom of men and in the heavens. From the heavens. You know what I mean? So now let's get into the vision that he saw. I said I didn't want to make this too long. Verse 2. In the 5th day of the month, all right, which was the 5th year of King Jehoiakim's captivity, around 592 BC. The word of Yahweh came expressly unto Ezekiel, the priest, the son of Buzai, in the land of the Chaldeans, by the river Kebar. And the hand of Yahweh was there upon him. All right, so he was sitting there by the river, and the Lord just gave him a vision, man. And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north. Now, a lot of people say, like, he turned to the north and all that, but it was a vision. So, anyway, he wasn't like physically turning his head to the north. It was a vision. So he looked. That word north just means gloomy, like the dark area of the sky. All right. So you know, like looking up. All right. So let's say for instance, he did look towards the north, which would mean like north, east, west, and south. He still had to look up. All right. So the focus is not that. The focus is, it says, the hidden area, the dark areas. All right. North of direction, northward. So somebody looked up, man. All right. Gloomy and unknown. Dark. So whether he looked in the north direction or whether he looked up, either one. All right, let's keep going. And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north. All right. And that whirlwind represents the chariots. All right. How they move, the waves. If you read 2nd Ezra 13, when it says Yahweh Shai is going to show up, let me get this. All right. 2nd Ezra 13:1. And it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night. See, Ezra was getting shown a dream as well. All right. And he was around during, what's that, 453 BC. All right. So, between the 5th and 4th century. And it says, and lo, there arose a wind from the sea. See that whirlwind, that it moved all the waves thereof. All right. That's just like you see a helicopter sitting over the ocean or water. It's move all the wind in the air. And behold, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. Shoot, man. So he was shooting out a laser, man. And that man that is talking about is Yahushua. Remember that word, the man. All right. That man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. So he had the thousands of angels with him. All right. So we're still speaking about that whirlwind. All right. Isaiah 66:15. For behold, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai will come with fire. All right. And with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury and his rebuke with flames of fire. So he's gonna show up with those chariots and be like a whirlwind, you know. And he's chariots of fire, and gonna be shooting out lasers, man. Jeremiah 4:13. Behold, he shall come up as clouds, and his chariots shall be as a whirlwind. His horses are swifter than eagles. Woe unto us, for we are spoiled. So this talking about the king of Babylon. But still it speaks of that swiftness, all right, being like a whirlwind. In case anybody's saying, yeah, that whirlwind's not, this chariot's gonna be like a whirlwind, like chaotic. All right, Sirach 48:7. Who heardest the rebuke of the Lord in Sinai, and in Horeb the judgment of vengeance? Who anointeth kings to take revenge, and prophets to succeed after them? Who was taken up in a whirlwind of fire, and in a chariot of fiery horses, man? It's talking about the chariots, man. All right. The whirlwind of fire, and in a chariot of fiery horses. So this is talking about it. This represents Ezekiel as well. But who was taken up? For instance, you had Enoch, Elijah, right? And even Moses dealt with the chariots. You got to understand the scriptures. When he was up on the mountain. But it speaks about the whirlwind of fire, man, and the chariots of fire, of horses, fiery horses. All right, so let's go back to Ezekiel. Ezekiel 1:4. And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north. So we know what that whirlwind represents now. All right. When the chariots show up in this atmosphere and they come close, it's gonna be, you're gonna feel the wind from them. All right. It says wind. All right, Rawak, of course. Okay, so it says a great cloud and a fire enfolding itself, and a brightness was about it. That means like on Independence Day, the big chariot that was moving forward, and like the fire was unfolding itself. That means something was moving. And out of the midst thereof, as the color of amber, out of the midst of the fire. So let's get into this scripture real quick. All right. Let's see about the check this out, because it said a great cloud. That great cloud represents the chariots, and the angels riding the chariots. 2 Samuel 22:11. And he rode upon a cherub and did fly. The cherub represents the chariots, what they call UFOs, all throughout the scriptures, man. And he was seen upon the wings of the wind, and he made darkness pavilions round about him, dark waters, and thick clouds of the skies. All right. Through the brightness before him were coals of fire kindled. That's that fire enfolding itself. So he melting and burning up the elements. All right, the chariots. All right, Yahweh thundered from heaven. The Most High uttered his voice. Sheesh. All right, so this is story in Exodus when the angel was inside the actual chariot or cloud, what they call a fiery pillar at night and a cloud by day. A cloud by day and a fire by night. I mean, it gave us covering in the day from the sun, and it gave us light at night and covering. But this was a story when the angel was in the chariot, and it was maneuvering and protecting the Israelites from Pharaoh, right, the Cushites. Exodus 14:18. And the Egyptians shall know that I am Yahweh, when I have gotten me honor upon Pharaoh, upon his chariots and upon his horsemen. All right, because the Lord destroyed Pharaoh's army, but he didn't kill Pharaoh. All right, Pharaoh went into captivity later. And the angel of Yahweh, see, the angel, is talking about Yahweh Shai and his angels, man. Yahweh Shai was there. All right, he was there dealing with Moses in the Mount Sinai. Um, this is Psalm 68 and 17. The chariots of Yahweh are 20,000. That's what he showed up with to deliver us out of Exodus, out of Egypt. Even thousands of angels. So that's what's in them, man. They talking about extraterrestrials. No, these are celestial beings. Made of fire, made of the spirit of Yahweh. Angels, just like men, but they're angels. They're in a different form. All right. The Lord is among them. See that? The chariots of Yahweh are 20,000, even thousands of angels, man. And Yahweh Shai is among them, as in Sinai in the holy place. So just like in Mount Sinai, was dealing with Moses, Yahweh Shai was there with the angels. And that's who's controlling his chariots. All right, real quick. This is a good story to understand, man. When you read Exodus 14, you should read that whole chapter. And it'll help you understand when the enemy comes in rushing like a flood, that Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai shall lift up a standard against them. And if the Lord be for us, who can be against us, man? All right. And I behold, I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians, and they shall follow them. They're going to follow the Israelites and chase after them. And I will get me more honor upon Pharaoh. So the Lord putting all the spirit on Esau, this hatred in them, so that the Lord can get honor upon them, man. And we're going to be ones that honor the Lord. And upon all his hosts, upon his chariots, and upon his horsemen. And the Egyptians shall know that I am Yahweh, when I have gotten me honor upon Pharaoh, upon his chariots, and upon his horsemen. And the angel of Yahweh, which went before the camp of Israel, how did he do that? In a chariot, removed and went behind them. So he turned this joint around. Big giant chariot, turned it around and went behind this large group of people that was walking. And the pillar of the cloud went from before their face and stood behind them. So it was a giant cloud. It looked like a cloud, man, but it was a chariot. All right? It had a hardness to it. It looked like a pillar. And it came between the camp of the Egyptians and the camp of Israel. And it was a cloud and darkness to them, but it gave light by night to these, so that the one came not near the other all the night. So the Lord used the chariot to blind and block these heathens. All right, man. So all right, the focus is what? The cloud. He's in the cloud. This is Psalms 104 and 3. Who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters, in the heavens, right? Shemayim. Who maketh the clouds his chariots, man? So he got a temple out there in the heavens. In the Shemayim, just started laying groundwork for a temple out there in the heavens, man. Who walketh upon the wings of the wind, man? All right, who maketh the clouds his chariot, man? All right, who walketh upon the wings of the wind? Who maketh his angels spirits and his ministers a flame of fire? So the angels are basically like flames of fire. All right, they're spirits. Matthew 24 and 30. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. And this is talking about now, right? After the destruction. And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet. And they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. And that's what Ezekiel 1 represents. All right. And what Ezekiel was seeing was Yahweh controlling his angels as they operate in the earth. All right. So he was telling Ezekiel, don't worry. All right. This may have to be a continued lesson later because so many scriptures you can go to about the clouds of heaven and how he's riding in a cloud and the chariots being clouds. The chariots are all through the scriptures if you understand it right. But now let's get back to it. Um, Ezekiel 1:4. And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, and a fire enfolding itself, and a brightness was about it, and out of the midst thereof, as the color of amber, out of the midst of the fire. Now that color amber is a derivative of brown, but it's like if you polished it, what you would call that? It would be the shine of bronze or brown. All right, amber. All right, because amber is more like it's lighter than brown. You hear some people say brown, but it's not really brown. It's like the color on the back of I know they call them amber lights, but the lights on the school buses. All right, it says the color amber is a pure chroma color located on the color wheel midway between the colors of yellow and orange. That's amber. All right, so that's how this chariot look. All right, amber is more yellow. It says it's midway between the colors of yellow and orange. You got to understand that. All right. Now, so this is what he was saying. A giant cloud that was enfolding itself looked like a storm coming towards him. And he saw beings in it, and he saw amber color. So it was bright orange or yellowish. So it was glowing. You got to see that, man. And that's the same type of chariots they see today. It was a giant fleet of chariots. You know. And I can go into many scriptures, so I'm just trying to hurry up and get through this lesson, and maybe I'll continue later. Verse 5. Also out of the midst, because I still want to show about the brightness around about it. The brightness represents the chariots that they glow. I may get into that on another lesson. Also out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures. That word creatures just means creations. All right. 4 living creatures. Why are they creatures? Because they were created just like us. All right. Something alive. That's what it means by creature. All right. Something living. But it just said that they are spirits. All right. Active of man. So if you see the angels, they're just like us. They look like us, but they're angelic. And they're in the 4th dimension. And they don't have this flesh. But they have the understanding just like us. The Most High gave them a certain levels of understanding to where they can't even understand the prophecies. All right, see, even the angels desire to look into these things, man. But the seals were broken by Yahushua, right? And even to the point where no man knows the hour, not even the angels in heaven. All right, so the Lord kept certain things away from them, gave them certain levels of understanding, just like He did with us. All right, and but the angels look like us. They don't have 4 heads. Anybody saying that, they're going off. All right, and they don't have animal feet. They're just like us. All right, but the angels. Also out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures. So we know that means they were alive. And this was their appearance. All right, it's telling you their appearance, how they looked. Or There you go. It said this was their appearance, how they looked, right? It said they had the likeness of a man. Period. Period, man. All right. That's why period. This was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man. They looked like men. All right. They didn't have four heads. Period. Verse 6. And every one had four faces, and every one had four wings. All right. So just get to the point. Each angel had four chariots with them. That's what you call that V formation. One chariot in the front, two chariots behind it, and then two more chariots behind it. All right, creating a V formation. But it was four angels. All right, four archangels, and each one of them had a fleet of angels with them in this vision. And these angels were meeting up with another fleet of angels. And I'm gonna show you that according to the scriptures, man. That's why I'm not gonna get too detailed. And I may have to go back and do another lesson on this so I get more detailed and have more time on it. All right, this is also why they had the likeness of men, because they follow the will of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Ecclesiastes 12:13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Yahweh and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. All right, so even in the heavens, the angels keep the Father's commands. All right, because it said what? Everyone had four faces and everyone had four wings. So those four faces represent their duties, their allotment, their employment. All right, what they were set up for. All right, and the scriptures tell you that these angels are set up to fray these nations, man, these heathens, to chase them away, to put them in flight. And they're also set up to deliver the children of Israel. Psalms 91:3. Surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. The snare of the fowler represents the trap of the bird catcher, Esau, and the speckled bird is Israel. He shall cover thee with his feathers. His feathers represent his angels. And under his wings thou shalt trust. So his wings represent the chariots. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. All right. So the wings represent his army. All right, the angels, the wingman. You know. All right, I'm gonna read Revelations 4. I'm gonna get to the point. And if you read Revelations 4, it gives a description of what Yahweh looks like, and it tells you that he's dark brown. All right, sardine stone. Now and if you read Daniel chapter 7 and put that with this one, Revelation 4, it tells you that Yahweh has wheels, chariots around his throne. Now, let's get this. Revelation 4:6. And before the throne was a sea of glass like unto crystal. And you can read that in Revelation 22. All right, which represents wisdom. And in the midst of the throne and round about the throne, see that, were four beasts full of eyes before and behind them. So it's talking about these chariots, these angels. All right. Beast just means living creatures. Full of eyes before and behind them, man. So they had a bunch of chariots. And the first beast was like a lion. See, people think in Ezekiel it's like he had the face of a lion. He had the face of this. He had the face of that. But this is saying they were like, you know. It's talking about their duties, man. And these chariots, what they represent. The first beast was like a lion, and the second beast was like a calf. And the third beast had the face of a man, and the fourth beast was like a flying eagle. All right. So, and the four beasts had each of them 6 wings about them. So each angel had, at this point, had 6 chariots behind them, or angels that followed them, that had their fleets of angels with them. All right, so that's 2, 2, and 2. V formation. And they were full of eyes within. So they had a bunch of angels within the chariots. And they rest not day and night, saying, Holy, 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 Lord Yahweh Almighty, which was and is to come. So these are living beings inside these chariots. All right, angels, celestial, right now out there crying to the Father and giving glory to Him. All right, and the Lord is carrying them up among the clouds, the chariots. All right, so where it says faces, panyam, right? It represents the presence of a person. All right. Also, their face in front of or before. And there's another one I had, another app I had on my computer, and it said plainly, yo, that the word also means to employ. All right. All right. And if you read about Gabriel, when he showed up and spoke to Mary and Joseph, he looked like a man, when he spoke to Daniel. And when Daniel saw the angels and saw Yahushua in Daniel chapter 10, um, right before he passed away, he saw the angels, right? And they looked like him. Every time they saw the angels throughout the scriptures, they looked like us. And even in visions. Um, what else? Uriel with Ezra's, Tobit and Raphael. Raphael looked like one of the tribes of Naphtali. Could he have made himself look like that? Yeah. But when they showed up, he in the spirit form, but he made a spirit like flesh. uh, You know. But yeah, they look like us, man. Every time you hear about the angels in the scriptures, they look just like us. Right? The scriptures say even we look like Yahweh. Yahweh has white and woolly hair with a dark complexion, and the angels are the same, man. All right, this is Luke chapter 1, verse 19. All right, and this lets you know that one of those 4 archangels that stand in the presence of Yahweh, right, that stand there, that's their position to be there. All right. One of those angels, the four beasts, are Gabriel, all right, Gabar Allah. Luke 1 and 19. All right. And there was one time when Mary, when Gabriel left, and she spoke to Joseph or somebody, she said, "The man that came and spoke with me." She's talking about Gabriel, man. He looked just like us. Luke 1 and 19. And the angel answering, said unto him, I am Gabriel, that stand in the presence of Yahweh. So one of those 4 beasts is Gabriel. And am sent to speak unto thee, and to show thee glad tidings. All right, so their job is to deal with men and go back and forth to us and to the heavens as messengers, angels. All right. All right, so let's finish this out real quick, man. Ezekiel 1 and 5. And I may go over this at camp. That way I can get more of these scriptures out that I want to bring out. Ezekiel 1 and 5. Also out of the midst thereof came the likeness. See, they were the likeness of 4 living creatures. And this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man. All right. And every one, so now it's going to something else. And every one of them had 4 faces, meaning 4 job duties or employment. And every one had 4 wings. All right, and these angels are set up for the deliverance of Israel and the destruction of the wicked. All right, they're set up for what? Righteousness. And their feet were straight feet. All right, and the feet represents a journey. All right, that's why the scriptures say, "Blessed are the feet of them that lead many to righteousness." So I'm not gonna get all these scriptures. I just want to speak on it real quick. And their feet, it represents their path or their journey. All right. And it said with straight feet, it represented what? Righteousness or diligence. You know, that's what the angels do. They do the work of the Lord. That's why I say one had the face of an ox. And the scriptures say, "Thou shalt not muzzle the ox that treadeth out the corn." What does the ox represent? Hard work or dedication, never giving up, always doing the Lord's will. All right, to completion. And the lion, it represents the terror or dominance. You know, and confidence, faith. What else? Man, that represents the duty of man, and our duty is to what? Praise Yahweh and follow His commandments and being humble. That's what the angels are. Then you have the eagle or the vulture, which represents to travel or to tear. And what does Raphael do? He goes back and forth from the Father to us, and to us from us to the Father, carrying our prayers to the Father. And he has a fleet of angels with him. He said he's one of the 7 angels. So what would that mean? Let me get this real quick because it just came together. All right, because in Revelations, what did it say? It said each of these angels had 6 angels with them. What would that make? 7 angels. All right, one each. You know, each allotment. So, like, say for instance, it was Gabriel. He would have 6 angels behind him. Raphael would have 6 angels behind him. You know, Tobit 12 and 15. I am Raphael, Rapa Allah, and when he showed up, he looked like he was from the tribe of Naphtali. This is one of the 7 holy angels, which present the prayers of the saints, which go in and out before the glory of the Holy One. So there's 7 holy angels, and he was one of them. All right, of that fleet that handled the prayers. Okay, so that would leave what? Raphael, and then 6 other angels behind him. That's what it's talking about when it say wings. All right, each of them had their 6 wings. It's talking about the angels, the chariots. Oh yeah, I'm working my way to it to get to the point. And because when you read this, you got to read it like a military setup. You know, that's how the Lord set up His military. You got the Air Force, but you got allotments and employments or purposes of duties, ranks within those um, uh, forces. You know, the Air Force, the Angels, the Ground Force, handling things in the earth, and then you have us upon the earth, all right, in the sea, in the spirit realm, Yahweh Shai. So He got everything set up perfect. Ezekiel 1 and 7, and their feet were straight feet, meaning their direction. They were dead set on handling the Lord's business. When He saw the chariots, they were going straight. All right, and they were going. They weren't dealing with anything wicked. You can tell they were set up for deliverance or righteousness. All right, and now this is still talking about the chariots. It's not talking about the individuals. You know, it said they look like men, but it's talking about the chariots now. And the sole of their feet was like the sole of a calf's foot. All right. Now, the sole just represents the bottom of it. So he was looking at the bottom of these chariots. Okay. He was looking at the north. Remember that. So he was looking at the bottom of it, and their feet, right, was like the sole of a calf's foot. Now, of course, this not talking about little ninja shoes or a calf's foot You know, even the funny thing about that, a calf is a baby heifer, so they have like tiny ass feet, like a little baby. No, man, you know, little Baphomet feet and shit, like the shit that what's it called, John? Manitors, half man, half beast at the bottom. That's not what it's talking about, man. Right here, it's talking about the chariots. All right, you have different shapes of chariots. You have pillars. You have uh, elongated ones. You have circled ones. You have some that look like calves' feet. And I'm gonna get that description real quick. All right, this is from my old Strong's Exhausted Concordance. All right, it's an old one. Um, the Dictionary of the Hebrew and Greek Words. All right, it's a real old book. It goes back like the 1600s. But in this book, you have um, the Strong's. All right, the definition of these words, and this is what I go back to if I can't find it on the internet. It's kind of hard to dig up, like the word marriage, showing that it means sex. And this concordance, it just says that sex, just like that, sex. All right, get straight to it. So with this one, when it speaks about the word calf, like a calf's foot, it's talking about a steer. All right. Now let's get that real quick. And it would look like a circle, you know, not a ball, but like a flat circle. But when you get to the front of it, it would have like a cleft in it, you know, or the back of it, you know, it has like a cleft in it or a flatness to it. So that word is 5695 igal, all right, igala. And it means from the same as 5696. So it's basically saying this, the root word here of calf is not talking about an animal specifically, but you can use it for that or example. All right. But it says a male calf as frisking round. That's the point. All right. So as frisking round, it's talking about the sole of a calf's foot that's round, but it's not fully circle. And those times, that's the example he used, Ezekiel. You know, he compared it to looking up at the sky and seeing a calf's foot in the sky. You know, that shape. Um, Other than that, he would say a wheel, or he would say fire, you know, a cloud. You see that he used the examples they use. Uh, here you go. Let's keep going. The root word I got wall, right? Which means um the root the root word meaning to revolve, see, to frisk around, right? That's frisking round, I mean around it. Um to revolve, circular, round. All right. Aigala. Uh, a nearly grown calf or steer. All right. It says Aigala. Revolving a wheeled vehicle, a cart, a chariot wagon. Aigala, right? And it says something revolving. Is that what it's talking about, man? He was looking at this chariot and it was like revolving around. Look around it. It says a wheeled vehicle. So it wasn't like the wheel, you know, like the that we're gonna read about in a minute. These were wheeled vehicles, but this chariot was wheeled, but it had an odd shape to it that he couldn't really describe. So he said it was like the shape of a calf's foot. And if you look at a steer, all right, um, so it said a wheeled vehicle. All right, so you see this? No, the angel's feet didn't look like that. It was saying that in the sky because it said the foot. It was the foot represent. It said a spoon object or a spoon or a dish or a bowl. That's what it represents. And it was saying this, because if you look up that specifically when it said foot, it said as the palm of the hand. So it's different than a regular word dealing with your feet at the bottom of your legs. This word here was saying a spooned object. If you look up in the sky, you saw a spoon. I mean, come on, man. It's a metallic object. But imagine if it had a weird shape to it. And that's how this one looked. It looked like that in the sky. Because they knew with the sole of a calf's foot, it looked almost metallic. All right. And that's how it looked. All right. So, all right. So the root word would be igal, which means what? A wheeled vehicle, a cart, a wagon, or to revolve something circular as frisking round. That's the focus, man. Not that it was an animal, but they were using the animal as example, just like the lamb is used as an example for Yahweh Shai, you know, the beast, all right? Um, the leopard is example for Alexander, all right? They were using animals for examples. Right here, he was saying the sole of a calf's foot, a steer specifically. That way he said a calf. He didn't say a cow or a heifer specifically. He said a calf, like a small one. And how their foot looks. It looks almost metallic, and it was half circle. It was semi-circle. It was circle, but not. It had a weird shape to it. So he said it looked like a sole of a calf's foot. And it's wild because I got to do a lesson on the chariots, and they go more into It was a video just popped up yesterday, and the chariot looked like a cleft foot in the sky. You know, a calf's foot. It looked just like it. All right. We'll go one more verse. So verse 7. And their feet were straight feet, and the sole of their feet was like the sole of a calf's foot, and they sparkled like the color of burnished brass. So it's not talking about no animal feet. It's talking about a chariot that was sparkling like burnished brass. You understand? He was looking in the sky still at the chariots coming out of the sky and landing on the ground. And they had the hands of a man under their wings on their four sides, and they four had their faces and their wings. So each angel had a fleet of other angels with it. So each angel commanded uh, four other chariots under them. But in Revelations, it tell you they had 6 chariots behind them. All right, with probably thousands of angels in those chariots. Now, it said the hands of a man were under their wings. It represents the spirit of Yahweh Shai being in these chariots, man. Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai controlling and giving power to the chariots. The word hand represents the power. So the power of a man was under these wings, keeping them up. So people want to know what's operating them. They don't have any engines and stuff like that. Propellers. No, it's the Lord's power that's operating them. All right. Their wings were joined one to another. They turned not when they went. All right. So they were in unison with each other. You know, they moved as a unit, just like you see the chariots today, what they call UFOs. They move right next to each other, or they even pass through each other. Their wings would join one to another. They turned not when they went, just like an airplane has to make a full turn. A chariot can be facing you any direction. It just go to the left, go up, go down, go to the right. All right, they're multi-dimensional. They can go anywhere. They went everyone straight forward, so they were going straight towards their mission. All right, just like you see the chariots today, you might see them turn, but these were going straight. When he saw them, they were going straight to the mission, to the point. As for the likeness of their faces, they four had the face of a man. So it wasn't specifically saying this angel had the face of a man. This angel had the face of a lion, and that angel had the face of an eagle. And that ain't no. They all had these same duties. Let's read it again. And they four had the face of a man, and the face of a lion, and on the right side, represent your spirit of Yahweh Shai, right? Things they got to deal with in heaven by his command. And they four had the face or duty of an ox on the left side, their work that they do in the earth and in the universe. All right. They four also had the face of an eagle. And that means what? To tear, to come and destroy, bring about the prophecies, bring blessings, to carry the spirits back to the Father, whatever it is, man. Okay. Thus were their faces, their duties, right? Their rankings, and their wings were stretched upward. So there was the chariots. There was four chariots were down low, and two chariots were above them, and then the other two chariots were way up higher in the sky, watching over them. V formation, right? So it's showing that they were coming down to the ground. Uh, one, thus were their four faces, were their faces, and their wings were stretched upward. Toward two wings of every one was joined one to another, and two covered their bodies. So it was two that stayed close, and two went up. And they went every one straight forward. Whither the spirit was to go, they went, and they turned not when they went, right? Like an airplane has to do. In this third dimension, they have to turn. Right? Even if they make a stealth bomber, the bomber has to turn around, with the pilot in it. Um, I think Russia just made a jet that can go backwards, right, left, but it still has uh, limited abilities. And now it says this: as for the likeness of the living creatures, their appearance was like the burning coals of fire. So they were glowing, man, like burning coals of fire. So they had a nice calm glow about them. All right. And like the appearance of lamps, meaning like lightning shooting off of them, sparkling. It went up and down among the living creatures, man. So the whole body was sparkling, like lightning going around them, and that was the spirit of the Lord. And the living creatures ran and returned as the appearance of a flash of lightning. So it's like seeing a person standing in front of you, then they over there to the left. Next thing you know, they over there to the right. Next thing you know, they're like 1,000 feet away from you. Next thing you know, they right up in your face. It was like flash. All right. And the living creatures ran and returned as the appearance of a flash of lightning. Now, as I beheld the living creatures, behold, see, as he was looking at these angels that just showed up in their extravagant form, he looked, and again he saw another fleet of angels. All right, man, yo. And the living creatures ran and returned as the appearance of a flash of lightning. Now, as I beheld the living creatures, behold, one wheel upon the earth by the living creatures, with his four faces. So this was another angel, and he had his duties as well. And this angel is Yahushua. The appearance of the wheels and their work was like unto the color of a beryl. All right, beryl. So it's saying this fleet of chariots were the same color as Yahushua's garment. It says his garment is the color of beryl. Daniel 10:5 and 6. All right, and Revelation 1:13. All right. So this is what it's talking about. I'm gonna prove it. And they four had one likeness. So this was a whole nother unit of angels, and they were meeting up on the ground. And their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel. So these angels and their chariots were shaped different than the other chariots, and it even was a different color. The other chariots, they said it was the color of amber and the color of burnished brass, and they were glowing. All right, and these chariots were like a wheel in the middle of a wheel. So he had to describe it differently. All right, and it was the color of beryl, which is like a sapphire or bluish or greenish, aqua blue or something like that. All right, let's get this word wheel real quick. A wheel, chariot wheel. All right, and they don't have to be crossing each other, like one wheel standing up, one wheel going sideways. They can both be flat and have the wheel inside of the wheel. You know. So now let's continue. Their appearance of the wheels and their work. We're looking at the work of it, how it's detailed. Was like unto the color of a beryl. Beautiful, man. And they four had one likeness. And see, just like earlier in Ezekiel, it was describing the likeness of the chariots and their appearance. And when it spoke about the angels, it said they look like men. All right. And their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel. When they went upon their four sides. So, it could have been standing up and went two across. And they returned not when they went. As for their rings, meaning their windows, they were so high that they were dreadful, and their rings were full of eyes round about them four. All right, so I'm gonna end it there so it don't be all long, man. But I gotta do another lesson on chariots today, and I might start from verse 18. All right, dealing with the windows. But I'm gonna end it there, man. But when it deals with calf's foot, it's not talking about actual. Um, I call it devil foot because that's like Baphomet. That's disorder. That's unclean. He said, yeah. Some people in the church, Christian churches, they say, yeah, well, it was a cloven foot like a cow or a heifer because they clean. You can eat them. So it represented the angels being holy. It's like, does it chew the cud? It's just madness, man. So, hey, man, it is what it is, man. Hate it or love it. But, yeah, man, the UFOs are in the Bible in Ezekiel 1. And I see I'm going to have to go more in detail with the camp and also by myself because this man, it's like uh, beginning of something here because as you go into it, it's so much to talk about. And you got to kind of touch on certain points and say I'm gonna go into this later because Ezekiel is so vast and complex to understand. But yeah, plus you got the UFO disclosures. Another chariot popped up yesterday. It looked just like that in the sky. It looked like a calf's foot in the sky. It's something with a clef in it. But hey, man, to each their own. Teach what you teach, reach what you're gonna reach. With that, I'm saying, shalom.